welcome to Team Call. I am so excited to share with you guys our amazing guest. I have known Sam for, how long has it been now, girl? Like probably 2 years since we first met. And I first met her at our Super Saturday. She lives in the Chicagoland area, and just immediately fell in love with her. She's part of our bigger Shred Nation family, and I have been watching her build her business with so much grace and so much strength and so much heart, and quit her full-time job of working corporate. She was the corporate gal, working 8 to freaking 6, pretty much, sometimes longer. And I'm sure she'll tell you more about her story. But seriously, her journey of coaching is so incredibly powerful. And I'm so excited for you guys to get to know her heart and to hear what she has to say and learn. So if you do not have one of these ready to go, please make sure you do. And yeah, so her stats, because she was an all dorky about this. She had me on her team call earlier this week, and she was like, "What are your stats?" And I was like, "Stats? I guess I'm a person." And I was like, "Oh yeah, Beachbody stats." But yeah, so she's a Success Club 5 legend. So she's had 35 months in Success Club, you guys, which is incredible. She's a team leader, which is on the the whole leadership ladder status. If you don't know what that is, check it out on Google. But it's a really powerful way to kind of mark how you're doing in your business. She's currently ranked number 99 in, her team is ranked 99 in the company, which is so incredible. And she's a 1-star diamond, just like me right now. So, you don't have to be 15-star diamond in order to be super high up. And she's also been 1-star for a long time, which we both can kind of relate to. And she's, so she has a lot to share that's different than a lot of the leaders that we tend to kind of look up to in this business. And I just feel her story is so powerful, so unique, and I can't wait for you guys to learn. I have my notebook ready to go. So without further ado, Sam, if you want to unmute yourself, we can get started.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. Okay, so I will dive into my story and then kind of plug in. None of you guys are full-time. Most of you guys are part-time, managing everything. So what I want to do is just share my life when I was working full-time. I worked anywhere between 70 and 90-hour weeks, and commuting in Chicago and just making it work and finding joy in it, because I truly can say I probably would have lost my mind at my corporate job working that many hours if I didn't have coaching. And I made sure that I found joy in everything that I did, because the more that we serve other people, the more that we're filled up, regardless of what our day feels like and regardless of whatever we're doing, whether we resent our full-time job or we want to quit, or whatever your goals are, intentions are for where you want to go. So I'll dive into my story, how I fit it around my full-time job, and then go into my monthly boot camps, and then social media just a little bit. And then I'm an open book, so feel free, ask me anything, and I will give you my top tips on where we're headed. So my story started, my upline, my coach is Jamie Innes, and who's now one of my best friends, and it's just been an incredible journey. So I was a former college athlete. I played soccer at Michigan State. So I've always been a part of a team, part of a community, and always been super stubborn, and fitness has always been a part of my life. And really the nutrition behind everything didn't really matter because I was working out a lot, and I love working out, and it isn't difficult for me to get my workout in. But the nutrition side of it was a huge part of where I needed to focus on. And so I actually started coaching when I was working in Indiana full time as a marketing manager, and then I was going back to school to get my MBA. So normal MBA programs are 24 months, and I did a 24-month program in 11 months while working full time. And I'm that crazy person that loves to just I'm all right, you tell me that I can't do it in 11 months, I'll do it. Just things like that. And while I was working full time. And so I did an accelerated program, and then I moved here to Chicago, and I was engaged. I was planning for 2 weddings. My husband's Nigerian, so we had an American wedding, Nigerian wedding, and I was 18 pounds heavier. And guys, I can count on 2 hands how many times I worked out in grad school while working full time. I put my health, my fitness, my wellness, everything to the back burner. And I grew up on Lake Michigan and the west side of Michigan. And I wouldn't go boating with my family. I wouldn't do anything because I felt really insecure and uncomfortable in my body. And so the what I love to do is just share the old me, because I think people see us right now as confident and posting on social media, and we forget that old us that wants to be inspired. And so I always post for the old Sam. I talk about it all the time in terms of my client, like my boot camp. So I would look in the mirror and would see everything that I wanted to change. Like, that wasn't good enough, or this needs to change, or I don't like this cellulite dimples on the back of my legs, or all of these things. And I'm just like, wow, like this is really toxic. So I was 18 pounds heavier, and my husband was playing soccer professionally then. He would get home, and he, regardless of if he had a shitty day, if he had like a great practice, or if he was just like, he didn't know what the next day would have for him, like he was still just, he would just like, the energy when he entered the room, I wanted. And I remember I told him that. I was like, I want what you have. And so he's like, well, write down everything that you want in life, or your career, or volunteer in career, like whatever you want, and put it on a piece of paper. I'm like, I want to help people. I want women to feel amazing, because I don't feel amazing. I'm overweight and I feel uncomfortable, and I just hid myself in bigger clothes. And so that's like my root of everything. And I started with T25, and then I didn't even want to be in a group with Jamie. I was just like, I'm going to do this on my own. And so I was like working full time, and my dream job in marketing with a health and fitness product company here in Chicago. And then I realized like very quickly that I can get sucked into another career. And as you guys know, it's like your career, your manager, your email inbox for your corporate job, or whatever jobs or whatever hats that you wear can truly take just priority over your own health and fitness or your own wellness. And self-love is a huge part of my life, because in my journey, because I never knew what it was. I'd hear like, you have to love yourself first. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Like, and that's how I viewed it. But I get it. Like, you have to love and care for yourself in order for you to be successful, in order for you to just feel balanced and excited and thrive in life, not just kind of go through life. So that was my story getting into coaching. And I was 18 pounds heavier. I was insecure, but I was like, I just want to help one person that let corporate America, let everything in her life take priority before her. And so I started sharing my journey on social media, helping my friends and family. And then it wasn't really until 6 or 8 months into coaching, I went to Coach Summit, and I heard Lindsay Matway talk, and I was just like, wow, like it doesn't matter your what school you went to. It doesn't matter all of these accolades that I'm trying to build on LinkedIn, for me trying to get new jobs in Chicago, not living here. And I didn't need any of that. I just needed to have a heart and a passion for serving others. So at that moment, I remember I looked and turned to Jamie, and I was like, I finally feel like I belong. I belong, because we're in this group of amazing women and men, primarily women, and we're all so different, but we all have a common core like mission in life, and it's just all so different. So it wasn't until the end of 2015, leading into 2016, I was like, I'm going to freaking make this happen. I was kind of going through the motions. I was hitting Success Club, but I wasn't recruiting. I wasn't doing anything to move my business forward, to make a paycheck beyond anything I ever dreamt of. And I was like, I need to do that. So part of what I'll share in terms of what my day looked like was I needed to find my pain points. So if you guys are at a point in your business where you're like, I felt like I was always unorganized. I felt like I always was behind the boat on trainings. I was always on the go, and like I had all these excuses, and I couldn't get to where I wanted to be because of all these excuses. So I looked at my pain points. My pain points had everything to do with my schedule. Like I was working out at night, and I was just doing everything at night, and I was exhausted. And so my clients, my conversations, my future people that I was either on my team or my clients, they got like what was left of me, and just a really small portion of me. And so it was that part. And then also was organization. So I looked at my pain points, and I was like, how can I invest in my future business as if I was getting paid what I wanted to get paid right now, that I needed to. So I invested in Google Streak. I invested in forms, or Woofu forms, and it gets sent directly to your email. And Google Streak is a CRM. If you guys don't use it, I pay for the full I think it's $39.99 a month, and you get unlimited tasks. So whenever I'm talking to someone, if I'm talking to Amanda and she's like, hey, I can't join your boot camp, but I would love to join in May after I get done moving or whatever. So I do a task and I set a reminder, and it will say like, follow up with Amanda, and it'll be this date, and I'll get that notification, guys, because I'm a pen to paper person, but I'm also pen to paper, and I love using Excel, and I love using all these things. So I found myself all over the place. And on the weekends when I was cranking my business out, I was just like all over it. And I spent like an hour just gathering my notes every weekend. And I was like, I need to stop that. So investing in Google Street to have unlimited notifications to say, all right, Sam, follow up with this person, follow up with this person, rather than looking at, I use High Achievers Playbook right now, but rather than looking at that and then looking back at pages of who we're talking to, I invested in that because I needed it. And I still use it now. And it's amazing. And it just takes that pressure of, oh shoot, last month who did I need to follow up with? Or, oh my gosh, where'd my notebook go? Because how many of you guys lost a freaking notebook and you were so excited about it? I've done it. I've done it in meetings at my corporate job, and I was like, why did I ever bring this to work? So find what works for you. Find your pain points and list them out, and then work with Amanda or work with your upline and say, how can I invest in something? And it could be $5 a month, or it could be just a change in your system for you to move your business forward. And mine was investing in ways to get more organized. And the second part of it really had to do with, regardless of my day, guys, I had to leave the house by 6 a.m. and I would get home like 7, 8, 9 p.m. Thankfully, my husband had a crazy schedule, so we both weren't missing each other too much. And I didn't know what that day looked like. And driving from, the west suburbs to the north suburbs for work, it took me 65 to 90 minutes some days. And so one way. So I knew like I was going to be out of the house 3 hours a day, work or driving. So I had to find a way to do all my vital behaviors, and that was my goal. I knew if I wanted to move this business forward, I had to wake up and do everything before my day happened, because one, I reported directly to the owner and founder of the company, so I didn't know if he was going to do a work lunch with me, if he'd pop in my office and just start talking with me over lunch when I needed to work my business. So my goal and my intention, my mindset were always to start my day with me. So I started my day. I woke up at 3:45 in the morning, and it seems insane, guys. My husband woke up early too, and we worked out together. And that from 2016, January 1st, I started Hammer and Chisel. And that whole year, basically, I did Hammer and Chisel. And my intent wasn't to put my notice in during 2016. It was to do it in 2017 at some point. So I made it my intention of, regardless of what I would do, I'd get my workout in. I'd do all of my vital behaviors before I walked in the door at my corporate job, because regardless of what would happen, I want to make sure I'm doing those vital steps to move forward, because not every day is going to be a crazy day, but those crazy days, I don't want those to be an excuse to just compound and say, okay, I only reached out to 2 people today. Always be that, have that trend throughout the week. I wanted to make sure that if I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do, I caught up later in the week, or I shifted around, or I focused more on something else on the weekend. So that's the thing that I always had to do. So having that mindset of, I want to do everything I need to do, the basics, guys. I had to say no to a lot of groups, to a lot of mentorships, and I am a 1-star, and I had three diamonds on one leg, and I'm like trying to push for elite last year, and I missed it purely just based on rank advancements. I had all the elite points and all of these things, and so I was like, I had to say no to a lot of things because I needed to focus on where I am right now. And I want you guys to think about that too. You don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to say yes to everything because it's a group that, oh my gosh, I want to be in there. But it makes you not stay in phase 1. Phase 1 being doing the vital behaviors. That you have to ask yourself, am I moving my business forward? Or am I doing things just to connect with other people, which is amazing and will fill you up. But for me, I had to say no to a lot of those things because I didn't have time to comment on all these other coaches that wouldn't move my business forward. So when I woke up in the morning, I woke up, drank my pre-workout, and did Hammer and Chisel. And then when I was sweaty and the pre-workout was going through my veins, I would sit down and I would have a list of 3. I think, Amanda, you do power of 3 or power of 5. Actually, you do 3, I do 5. So Power of Five, and those are the 5 things that I need to get to. So I write those the day prior. So at night, I will write down 5 things that I have to get to. And it could be like I have a really hot coach prospect that wants me to get back to her immediately about coaching. So she's on that list, and then maybe clear inbox, or, you know, look at Instagram messages, or make a list based on the people who have liked my Instagram post the day prior and write them out. And then the next step could be, my 5th one could be sort through them and look at their profiles to see if they're coaches or not. And then that would be my list of when the adrenaline's rushing and I'm finishing my pre-work, I'm sitting down at my desk, I take a picture of myself, posting it into my challenge groups, but I go through that list. And that list is, I could finish it during that time. And most of the time, guys, in corporate, feel bad for my employees. Like, I barely wash my hair and I use dry shampoo all the time because I was like, I don't have time for that. So I would sit down, and maybe like 5:30, I would leave my office. If I didn't get through everything, that was what I wanted to get to at my lunch break, or what I wanted to get to at night when I could work. So within that, and if anything I could answer or do on voice memo or Voxer, I wouldn't do when I was sitting in my office, because I have a long commute. So why not utilize my commute for those too? So I would do all of my vital behaviors. So I'm having my shake, I'm doing my workout, I'm reaching out, connecting with people, doing that list. And that list typically has a portion of that in it. And then I would shower, get ready, and be out the door. And during my commute, guys, if you have a commute, or if you are struggling to get your personal development in, I know Amanda is your upline, so I doubt it you guys are struggling with personal development, because you guys freaking rock that. Or if you're struggling with a certain area in your business, and this was me, guys, I was placing myself with these leaders that want to hit elite this year, and they were recruiting numbers like triple of me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, can I really do this? And I started second guessing myself. And I'm like, no, I need to focus on, rather than labeling recruiting as my weakness, I shifted it. And I told Amanda this, like at NLC, while we were waiting in line for dinner one night. And I was like, I knew, and this will be part of what I'm talking about here in a second, I knew that when you label something as recruiting is my weakness, or I've never hit Success Club consistently, that's my weakness, or having conversations is my weakness, you plant the seed in your head that you have a weakness, and that's something that you struggle with, and you're giving yourself an okay out to not hit it, right? Or to justify. That's the easy way of saying, okay, well, that's one of my weaknesses, so I'll give myself a break. If it was something I'm good at and I didn't hit this month, then I would be upset. And that's what I was doing, guys. I was like, recruiting, like Success Club is fine and easy for me, and I can rock out a great challenge group, but the recruiting side of it was really difficult for me. So I was like, that's what I need to focus on. So if you have a commute, if you're traveling, blow drying your hair, pop headphones in, and listen to videos on YouTube that pertain exactly to what you want to grow in your business. And that was recruiting for me the first 3 months of this year. And I think my numbers have like quadrupled from what I bring into the team. And we're starting 2-star qualifications here shortly. And it's just an incredible shift in my mindset of not labeling it as, okay, I've just always been bad at recruiting, and I'm just unlucky that I have all of these diamonds on one leg, and, you know, all of these like pity party for myself. So when you're doing your personal development, and that's all I did on my commute, and I responded to voice memos and Voxers on my commute, is if you guys are struggling to get back to people, or you're struggling to get your PD in, use headphones. You know, while you're blow drying your hair, doing your makeup, always have something motivational and inspirational going on. And I split my personal development into 2 categories, and I get both of them done every day. One is professional development. So I am still focusing on recruiting until I feel like I am mastering recruiting. I'm hitting numbers beyond anything that I've thought of, and my dream coaches are getting attracted to me, and I feel like I'm really confident in that area. That will always be what I'm focusing on right now, that and leadership. So that's my professional development. And then my personal development, that's my spiritual, or, you know, if you're religious, if empowerment, you know, anything that will just light a fire in your soul, like You Are a Badass books, or Girl Wash Your Face. Those things are, I split them both up because it builds you up. Because I believe if you're so stuck on personal development, then you'll forget okay, I need to grow or learn little tidbits within this area of my business. And when you're doing both together, everything kind of elevates. So that's what I tell my coaches to do is, yeah, if you're doing only 15 minutes of PD, like you're probably going for a walk around the office or doing something less than that during your day. So make sure you're doing at least 30 minutes, 15 minutes personal, 15 minutes professional, and you will see a difference in yourself and your confidence in everything that you do. So if you guys do not have Voxer, I definitely recommend getting Voxer. So on commutes or times where you're eating or you need to get back to someone or it's just mundane time, utilize Voxer with your coaches, guys. Like I have new coach mentorships that I run on Voxer, and it's just a great way to get to know people. And I'm a huge believer in my most successful coaches are like my best friends. I could invite them over. I could hang out with them. We could get a glass of wine. Like we can talk about stuff outside of coaching. And that's the relationship that I want. I want them to know that I'm here to show and tell you everything that I've done to be able to get here financially, if it's their goal, but I'm also here as a friend. And that's what the Voxer mentorships, we can talk about goofy stuff and they can hear your voice, because it's really powerful through a voice memo or through a Voxer message to convey your heart and passion versus, hey girl, like over like a message. I respond, I wish Instagram had a voice memo, I would use it all the time, but I respond when I was working full time in the car. I would also have a list of people that I was sending in Voxer. Voxers is pretty easy, but Facebook messages too. Like I would respond back like, hey, thanks so much for your idea of, I know, I haven't done videos yet, but that's such a good idea. I would always send voice memos back if people have really tough questions about coaching, like, the typical objections like pyramid scheme or, oh my gosh, there's so many coaches out there. I had a girl yesterday message me and they're like, is there a saturation map? Because I see that there's 400,000 coaches. And so I messaged her back and I was just like, hey, like, I don't think there's one that exists, but we're in the US, we're in Canada, and we're in the UK. And of those 400,000 coaches, like there are coaches just like my mom who sign up and just want the discount. And of that, there's a really small portion of people that are actually working the business. And I was like, I'm sorry if I don't have the graphic, but I hope that's okay. And she's like, oh my God. And it was just so simple. It was easier for me to say that over voice memo versus me saying it, typing it, didn't convey the same energy. Like, hey, that's not a stupid question. Like, that's a great question. And it also underlines like her, like deeper lining objection or hesitation with coaching is she's afraid that there's too many coaches out there or that she's not good enough. And that's what your voice can do and change people's perception. So, so utilize that. And so on my full-time job, when I would have my lunch break, if I had my lunch break, 30 minutes of it would be just for me to unplug. Because guys, we're constantly, I had to have numbers ready for the owner and founder and COO, like at a dime. I had to know what was happening. So I couldn't work my business when I, in between those times outside of my break. And so that first 30 minutes, and I would take a picture of my lunch and post to my challenge group or check in with my challenge groups. I would do things that were not so, oh my gosh, reach out to 10 people or scroll through Instagram and like people's photos. I would keep that for times where my brain is completely wiped out, and that's most likely at night, and that's when I would do that. So I would take pictures, and you never can have enough pictures, guys, and I'll talk about it in social media. Be in the mode of just constantly taking pictures and always having stock images that you can use throughout your entire week or even weeks to come, or challenge groups, or repurpose them. And I always take a picture of my lunch. I always took a picture because I ate all of my meals when I was working in corporate in the car or at my corporate office. Like I didn't eat lunch with my husband. I was snacking on my way home. Like that's what I would do. And so I talked about that. And I talked about it because it's important, because other people that were following me probably did the same thing. So fitting in time within your workday. And so I had no idea what I would do when I left corporate. It could be, 7 p.m. and I get home at 8, depending on traffic, or I could get home at 9 or 10, be wiped out, and my husband needs me and he takes priority, and I would just go to bed. But regardless, I knew that I got my vital behaviors in. And that's how I do it. I use Win the Week Tracker, and I don't know if you guys have that. I can upload everything. I think like Chelsea posted it, but it was just a mindset rather than saying, okay, I want to do the minimum, because Beachbody talks about it, like, do the minimum, 5 invites, 5 this, 5 that, or 3. And I was like, what is the most I can do? Because I could be like I could be completely just excited about this person and just entrenched in this amazing conversation that I just have a great intentional conversation with them versus reaching out and, kind of commenting back to 45 people. Like, it's just me shifting my time and making that quality over quantity, but making sure that I am doing the most that I can do every day. And that's what I ask myself. At the end of the day, I'm like, did I do the most I could do today? And some days are exhausting. Some days are emotionally draining. If you have any type of like toxic environment wherever you're at, like corporate I always had to watch my back because of, certain people that I worked with, looking at my social media and dynamics like that. So that was for me, my schedule Monday through Friday, fitting it in, personal development above anything else. And towards the end of, that was entire 2016, towards the end of my 2016 year, I started to resent my full-time job. And I started to get really frustrated. And I walk in the door and I would almost be in tears. I have one of my coaches who also quit her full-time job, Jesslyn, and we would go back and forth because we had the same goal of doing this. Then we would get so frustrated with like walking through the door and not doing what we love full-time. And maybe it's you walking through the door and seeing that person or not feeling successful in coaching or anything that you feel like is holding you back, or you're getting frustrated, or you're just on this kind of spiral of, I didn't hit it. You're fearing to do it because you haven't hit it in a long time. And then all of a sudden it's just like this downward spiral of you not feeling successful or you resenting something. So I honestly would ask Siri, I'm like, Siri, motivational videos on YouTube. And I played one every time I walked into my corporate job, and I would park really far away so I could walk in and listen to just 2, 3, however many minutes it took me to get into the office. And that just shifted my mindset. So it really is about mindset, intentions, and having these affirmations of, okay, rather than doing the minimum because our days are crazy, ask yourself, what is the most I can do? And be realistic with yourself. And for me, I always had a huge goal of, I wanted to hit Success Club no matter what every month and recruit 2 to 5 coaches. And now it's way beyond that, but it's just when I was working 70, 90 hours a week, that was my goal. No matter what, I want to help 3 to 5 people a month, and period. And I wanted to shift my mindset. It was Success Club was removed from my goal list because it was like, I'm already going to do that. I know that because that's my non-negotiable. It's no longer a part of my goals because I know I'm going to do that. And it was just, I'm putting it out in the universe, and that's what I'm going to do, even when I was working crazy hours. So having that mindset and shifting your intentions of, okay, today I'm going to do the most I can do, and give yourself grace if something out of the ordinary happens, or if you're just freaking wiped out and you feel like you're half-assing every conversation that you have. Just say, all right, tomorrow I'm going to do it. Don't let that compound, but also accept how you feel right then. Saturday and Sundays, they were my content days. I would take pictures. If I was going out to a wedding or going out on a date with my husband, I would take at least 3 pictures, 3 different pictures, like different areas, because I would want to share them later on. I would share one that night, but also I want to share multiple ones throughout the weeks, or even like 2 months. I think I've shared a photo from like, winter, probably 2 months ago, a couple weeks ago. And it was just pulling things because, my husband's a part of my brand. So just talking about that. And so just getting in the habit, like I said earlier, of getting content and taking content. And that's a part of what we do. So if you're meal prepping on Saturdays or Sundays, don't post all of your photos from that Sunday of your meal prep. Post them, plate them, do whatever if you have time to use throughout the week. I would post, a bigger picture in my challenge group, but then I would make really, really smaller posts, whether it's like lunch, dinner, breakfast, and I would share that on my social media. I'd schedule them on my Facebook groups and say, like, here's what I eat during the week. Here's how I make it fit. Here's how I hate like re-warming up meat. Like, that's just something that I don't like. And so I was like talking about different things that I ate, or, how I made my shake and how I do all of these things, because everything that you do on Sunday or Saturday, whenever you prep, don't spill all of the goods. Trickle it in throughout the week. And plus it gives you content. It gives you content also in your challenge group. So rather than like, oh my gosh, I just ate my lunch and I forgot to post it in my challenge group. just go back and take a picture of it. No one cares. Like, you can utilize it and repurpose it. So on Saturday and Sundays, definitely take content, go outside, change into 2 or 3 outfits. It was a huge game changer for me, because I was that person that was like, oh my gosh, it's 3 p.m. and I haven't even posted yet. Or holy cow, I like haven't even had an intentional like conversation, because I'm so consumed with what the heck do I post about? Because we're consumed at our full-time, hats that we wear during the day. So I had to find a way to do that. And so I planned a lot of my content. A lot of it was pictures, because I'd leave the house when it was dark and I'd get back when it was dark. So the weekends had a lot to do with me building my content, and I had to make sure it was fitting into my schedule. I scheduled things on my Facebook like page at least once a day for that following week. And it was just such an incredible way to take that off of my shoulders, rather than like, oh my gosh, like I'm going into a meeting and all I'm thinking about is I haven't even posted all day. Like that, those are the things that I thought of, guys. So that is what and how I scheduled my time during my corporate life. And I can answer questions at the end, but I just really found it in pockets, and no day was the same. It was just, no matter what, my morning was me. I'm getting my workout in, and Thursdays for Hammer and Chisel is rest day. And so I still woke up and I got extra time to do more work on that Thursday. I got an extra 45 minutes to do work. So I kept my schedule regardless of rest day for Hammer and Chisel. And it was just this mindset of, I want to do it. And one thing that helped me was, we talk about our whys all the time. So if you have an iPhone, I have no idea if it's Android, but there's a label on your alarm, and I put remember your why. And so for the whole 2016, I visualize things, and my personality, I can visualize like I want to smell the fresh air in the middle of the day. I dreamt of me sitting in my office, scheduling my nail appointment at, 10:30 just because I could, because my weekends were filled with running errands, going to DMV, doing things that I couldn't do, getting my oil change, and I could barely hang out with my husband. So I dreamt of the day that I could physically sit in my chair where I'm at right now and look outside and just be able to leave and go do these small errands or do these small things for my husband. So I want you to get so clear on what that looks like. And if your why doesn't make you wake up at 4 a.m., and it seems insane because I heard people talk about this for so long, if it doesn't make you wake up at 4 a.m., you need to get deeper. And it can be something selfish. And for me, it was financially getting to where I felt comfortable and being able to sit here. And that's pretty selfish. Like, yeah, bottom line, I love helping women, and that's my mission and purpose in life. And people know that, and I know that. But in order to get me up at 4 a.m. was to say, I'm going to do this because I know where I can go. And I have that vision, and I want to sit here, and I want to be able to do this. And as Nosa and I, in the future, talk about our family and future family, like, we want to do this. I want to do the same thing. I want to be present. I can't be working 70, 80, 90 hours a week and, doing that. I'm not going to be present. So getting really crystal clear on wherever you're at in your life. And maybe one of my success partners was like, I just want to be able to get to a point where I can quit one of my jobs and I can afford getting a puppy. And that was it. And I was like, heck yeah. And she's like, that's what made me come alive. And so I'm going to do it. So find whatever works for you. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully my computer doesn't do an update. It just said that. Okay, Amanda, you may have shared a little bit. Melanie Mitro at New Leadership Conference talks about just scheduling everything. And so organization is something that I struggled with. So for me, this is what I did, and I implemented immediately after New Leadership Conference. And then if I can switch it, 1 second. Share screen. All right, can you guys see this? Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is my monthly calendar. I'm gonna remove this. Okay, so this is how I set up my monthly calendar. And I did the exact same thing, aside from the coach previews. when I was working in corporate. So first Monday, or depending on holidays, second Monday, I would start my 21-day boot camp. I keep it in one boot camp, and I label it monthly boot camp with Team Heart Fitness. That's my team. I funnel my new coaches, myself and 6 others will run the group. And then after, 1 or 2 months, when they feel confident, they'll all partner up together and they'll run a group. So that's a great way for me to mentor them, teach them how to run a group, and then they can make it their own and cater whatever vision that they have for their boot camp into a different group. So that's a great way for me to just keep that mentorship, but also show them how I run my group. So I do 21-day boot camps, and then one of my weaknesses, like you guys said, that I would always put in my head, something that I wanted to work on was recruiting. So I'm like, I need to change this up. So I changed and started doing a weekly sneak peek since January 1st. And it seemed a little daunting. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to invite people to coaching like every week. And it was just me again, changing my mindset, guys. So whatever weaknesses you're focusing on, do something really uncomfortable. And that was really uncomfortable for me. I was like, I had to talk about coaching all the time. But what I found was it shifted my voice on social media. It had me talking more about the community. It had me talking more about my story. It had me talking more about why the heck I love what I do. It had me talking more about boot camps, and actually had me hitting higher success club points in my boot camps. And also my coaching and my recruiting numbers grew too. So it was just a shift in everything. So rather than saying, okay, on the 14th, I have a coach preview starting, it's, oh my gosh, I have one every week and I'm committed to it. And I run it with another coach, and then I funnel in my coaches that are either really close to diamond or have been in the business a little bit, that can eloquently share their story and a part of the business. And it's a 2-day event. And so I'm committed to it. And so if I didn't invite anyone to it, guys, I'm committed to it. And so it's just like, all right, I'm wasting, an hour on Wednesday, an hour on Thursday, and I have no one in it, but I committed to it. So it just shifted everything in my mind that I need to always be talking about it. I need to always be giving people a sneak peek into it. So if you look at my Instagram on Monday and Tuesday, typically I am sharing more about coaching. I'm doing a poll, like, have you ever considered what it is that I do? Select certain things. Instagram is primarily where my business is. I'm definitely trying to focus both on, Facebook too, but Instagram is just where it's at for me. And I show like a sneak peek behind the scenes with my boot campers, screenshot some things that people have asked me, and that's what I do. And then I have that call to action on Monday and Tuesday on my Instagram, and then I plug people in for Wednesday too. And so you'll see that weekly, and I call mine a learn more, what is coaching training, because I go back to, if I heard the word accountability group, or if I heard the word, and this is just me, guys, or if I heard challenge group, like a challenge means something versus a challenge group to me. And so I try not to confuse people, and being a business major and a business background, a learn more training is what I would call it, and what I would be intrigued by if I saw it on social media. So that's what I call my sneak peeks. The sneak peek means nothing to me. I'm like, a sneak peek? Like what? It's just a coaching word. It's a word that people use in Beachbody. And to me, outside of Beachbody, I would have no idea what that is. So I make sure my I call them virtual boot camps. I don't call them accountability groups or challenge groups, because unless I'm doing a 5-day challenge of squats or workout and do this, I get really clear and avoid the Beachbody verbiage. And I just want it to be what I would be attracted to. And a lot of it is just very, clean cut, learn more training, learn more about coaching training, because a sneak peek doesn't mean anything to me. A happy hour doesn't mean anything. And so I want to make sure that my voice, and it breaks down all the way to what I label and brand my 2-day coach preview to. So Wednesday, Thursday, I do that. I can share with you guys later, the topics that I do. I can post it in your team page. I'm in it. So I will do that. And then the second to last week of every month, I do a free boot camp, and I utilize the Beachbody On Demand trial. And for that, I just want to get as many women in it that maybe said no to my boot camp earlier that month. And then I can funnel them into my boot camp for April. And I catered this last one, and I can brand it differently, just 5-day boot camp, or I did a 5-day working busy women boot camp or something like that. So I want to make sure that it's just really catered to my demographic, who follows me and what really makes them come alive. So I did that, and then it will help set up my following month or my next month for me in April. And so I have people that I'm just talking to, getting them more information, and then come April 1st, I can have those people sign up, and then have them set up for, I think, that next month boot camp. And then also what I've done is, this can look a lot different for you guys. So for instance, let's see. This is what my day looks like. And a lot of it can be like, schedule your day based on like how you schedule your corporate life or all of the jobs that you have. Schedule your coaching time. And this could be in the morning, wake up, work out, do whatever. And then a lot of this could be full-time job. And that's fine. When I was working in corporate, it would have said the same thing. So this is just me setting up my day. Waking up at 5, I'm, eating with time nutrition and, reading, meditation, goals, gratitude. It's me listing and going through the things that I do, reading my goals that I have for this year, my workout, shower, and then personal business time. So what you guys can do is just, the same thing as when you wake up, work out, just don't even look at any of your phones. Don't look at anything except working on your business or whatever that is that you need to do, and block it out. I color code them. I like to see everything different. And day to day, you'll see the same thing. So it changes just a little bit in terms of my team time, because what I found was I was spending so much time on everyone else's business and I wasn't moving my business forward. So I shared this with my coaches. My coaches know that, I will get back to them during this pocket, and it caters and it differs, but they can schedule times with me. They can schedule calls with me. They have access to my calendar, so they can see, during what time each day, Monday through Friday, they can schedule calls with me. But also for me, it makes me to sit down and have an alarm. I know Amanda does this, of like pockets of, okay, I have 15 minutes to do this, and then my alarm will stop and I have to move forward. I do the same thing now that I'm working full time. Is, okay, I have lunch, I have this. Not everything goes perfectly, but I also know that, okay, during this time, team time, if I have no call set up, maybe I'm listening more about like something that my team's struggling with. Maybe it's hitting Success Club early in the month or whatever it is, and I am focusing on that and sharing it in my business builders page, or figuring out my schedule based on what I have next. And it shows up on my phone. It gives me notifications. So what you guys could do is like your phone, your work time, and then unplug, different things. And I think this one's great, like lunch and unplug. And I put my phone upstairs and I eat downstairs, so I'm not overly consumed. Or I'm done working and I share this part with my husband. So my husband knows that I'm done working at this point. Or on team calls, I have my team calls on every other Tuesday, and then the team fight to finish calls are on Monday night. So my husband knows, like, he has my calendar. He knows like when I'm working later. So it works really well for both of us. So if you're having some disconnect with your like spouse, significant other, it's a great thing just to send a calendar invite, mark it as, they're available still, but then they have it in their calendar of like, okay, he knows, Sam's working later, or, Sam has Super Saturday this weekend. So he knows, and it's, it's small little things like that, but it works for us. We just started doing it, and it's just really helpful to live by that calendar. So I think that was it for my screen share. Let's see. Okay, I think that was it for right now. And then I just wanted to share with you guys one thing that I do with my boot camp, and then I can open it up for questions. And I will actually share this with you guys. Oh wait, I need to share my screen again. Okay, so everyone runs their boot camp. I run them, 21 days, and regardless of what programs they're doing 21 days on, 1 week off, I'm reevaluating their program, their goals, or they're just continuing on. If a lot of my clients do hammer and chisel, a lot of them are doing AD obsession right now. And a couple things that work really well for me is within, I know you guys have seen this, within the album section of my boot camp, I'll do breakfast, dinner, lunch, Shakeology snacks, dessert, and cooking tips. And guys, if you haven't utilized Beachbody On Demand's recipes or all of their blog articles, just copy and paste into your boot camp. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like creating new groups, because I like putting a lot of content in it. I'll create like micro groups or like 7-day dashes from my huge like past client group. But within the monthly boot camp of people doing it, I'll create this. And so for instance, it's just one picture. And then I think yesterday I uploaded a lot of them. You'll see just a bunch of different recipes. And then people can save them, they can do whatever. And this is just something that really helps. So I keep this as the main graphic, and we have one that says transformations. Let's see. Photos, that one. So it has transformations here, and then people post their photos in the comments of each program. And then meal plan, same thing here in the comments of everything. And this is one thing, guys, that I created that I will send you guys, but really just made it more me. And I shared it in Shred Nation when I did the surge a couple weeks ago. And it's something that I truly believe adds another element to what we do as coaches. I love creating. Creating is something that like sets my soul on fire. So when I'm not feeling the joy, I go back to creating something like this. And when I was working 70, 90 hours a week, I didn't create. I said no to things like this because I just didn't have time. So I can give you guys the template that has all of my information pulled out of it, but it's a getting started right guide for my clients. So yes, every month they will get posts within the challenge groups, outside check-ins on Sunday nights for me, in Facebook Messenger, but I wanted them to have another resource because some people are really visual. So I have this getting started right. As soon as I purchase the challenge pack, I have them always purchase all access with the Performance Line or Shakeology, and then they'll get this. And then getting started, or like have them start here, find their program, print off their workout calendar, and then read through the nutrition plan, calculate the category that they fall in. So really just breaking down what they would get in the normal booklet that people used to get. And then plan your meals and meal prep before pictures, measurements, getting plugged into the boot camps, clean out time, just cleaning their pantry, but also like getting their mindset right, and then a commitment statement. So I created this. It has, specific links to, I think it had a link to my Beachbody on Demand, but it doesn't really matter at this point because they're already signed up. But also showing them right away that, hey, you don't have to just do it on a computer, or you don't have to just do it anywhere. If they don't know this already, it's just another reminder that they can do it everywhere. And then just quick snippets of, okay, log in, search this, and download, because depending on when they sign up, I have them try out different programs. If they're like, I just want to do 21-day fix, or I want to do 80-day obsession, and they haven't ever done a program with you, I try and have them do a 21-day program, only because I want them to see results and find quick wins in order for them to move forward. So I kind of make them dabble in like a challenge du jour type of thing, and just pick some workouts leading up to when the boot camp starts. So I will send them this, and then I'll also include like, hey, try out this workout and this workout based on their goals, and then the nutrition plan, and I'll send all of you guys this, and then just fun, snippets of, and these are direct links into my Google Drive that I have for our team. And just some tips like planning and prepping that work really well for me. And then Shakeology recipes, and then desserts. Because when I first started drinking Shakeology, I didn't drink it every day when I was a client, but I started drinking it every day and eating it every day when I started making these Reese's cups. And so I truly believe that like when they find also a dessert that they love making Shakeology out of, they're hooked, because they're like, oh my gosh, you can make brownies out of this. So for me, I'm a huge believer in just sharing the importance of just creating your own shake that you love, but also finding some type of dessert. I'm a huge, I love chocolate. I have the biggest sweet tooth. So I make sure that my clients always get, some recipes, and all of these are linked to the Beachbody on Demand blog. And I also break down this, if they don't know already, because a lot of people are like, what you drink? Like they don't realize about Shakeology until like they're purchasing, because I don't really talk about it a lot on my social media. And then before pictures, letting them know it's okay, that it's a little scary, but it's important for them to get outside of their comfort zone, getting plugged in. And this is my like full-on community. And then clean out time, just like limiting beliefs, sweets, alcohol, depending on like what they struggle with, because I already know. I will have them focus on something, because if it's in front of you and you struggle with reaching for potato chips every night, then remove them from your site, and that will help. Commitment statement, and this one I love because they can fill it in extremely like deep, or they can be really surface level. And so what I find, and I gauge my conversations up like to, is how much they respond to. One, if they give me really short answers, I need to do more in terms of just digging deeper. Maybe it's like suggesting a personal development book. And so for me, I love this part, because this is the part that's like, you're not just coaching someone to go through a program. It's finding deeper, like why they want to do it and what makes them come alive. And this commitment statement, when I get it back, is a huge way for me to gauge what I should do as a coach with them. And then my mission, and that's what I do. And I can send you guys that. But this has helped me. And within Streak, you can schedule email series. And so essentially what I do is pull each one of these things and schedule them throughout the week, like the Shakeology one, or throughout the 21-day challenge. So in the morning, they'll get like, remember your why. And then I will like list how to find your why or other examples of your why. And then day 5 will say some great, Shakeology recipes. So outside of the Facebook group, they'll be getting this email series because Google Streak allows you to schedule all of those. So that is, I know this is so much, Amanda. So that is my welcome guide, everything that I do, how I fit it in with my full-time job, and a lot. Probably could talk forever, but I will open it up for questions.
Oh my gosh, Sam, that was so much amazing information. I want to like revamp my whole ebook too now that I send out. And yeah, definitely I'll make sure I send you guys the link when she shares it with me, so that you guys can like repurpose it and make it your own. But thank you. That's such an amazing resource. So incredible. Yeah, I posted a bunch of questions because I'm a nerd. But if you have any questions, pop them in the comments, and Sam can start with answering some of mine that I know you guys have also talked to me about.
So what are your non-negotiables as a new coach that helped you hit Success Club every month? So for me, it was a free group. I had 200 followers on my Instagram when I first started coaching, and I was like, dang it, if Success Club is the foundation of moving your business, I'm going to do it. And I need to get away from my warm market, because honestly, the first 3 or 4 months of me hitting Success Club when I first started coaching was my warm market. It was making my husband sign up with a challenge pack and my sister so I could get enrolled in 20 days. Like, I was like, I don't even know what this means, but I'm going to do it. And so it was a lot of like my family and their friends and referrals. And I was like, okay, this is going to end. So for me, some of my non-negotiables, some months when it was really low, I did 2 5-day free boot camps, and it was before the Beachbody On Demand free trial. So it was me like doing workouts and sharing them like either from Pinterest or from YouTube, and just getting them exposure and branding them. So when I first started coaching, I was a bride to be. So I did 5-day bridal boot camps. And then I literally milked that until I was probably 3 months after getting married. And I was like, okay, that's probably enough. And then, I just found whatever stage I was in, or whatever your followers love. If you are into crafts or you're into anything, create that into fitness, because fitness and health is always the foundation of us being happier and healthier, and being able to say we deserve to do, our hobby on the side. That's like self-care, a huge part of it. How do you find people to talk to and build connections with on social media? I think the biggest thing is just you being you. Like, when I know you hear it all the time, but like, if you like to dance and like, you're like, I'm not good at it, because there's a lot of like people on Instagram, like, be a dork and dance, or have fun, or talk about the things that you think are mundane. And that's what my coach Jamie always told me. She's like, you work 70, 90 hours a week. That isn't like, yeah, to you it's mundane of like, okay, what do you pack? What do you bring in the car? What do you listen to? And I started talking about like all of these things, like podcasts that I listened to on my commute, that my commute was 65 plus minutes, that I didn't even know what a 40-hour work week looked like. And so I started talking about these things, and I started creating conversations with other people that were like, oh, I have this really good podcast, or I saw you're watching this podcast. And I would say, I'd always prompt questions. So whatever my posts were, so say I took a picture of me driving and I talked about my takeaways from whatever book I was reading, I would then in my Insta stories or in another post with a call to action, ask them, do they have any good podcasts? Or tag your, busy working woman that can relate to this. Like, be really real on where you're at in life and leverage the heck out of it. Like, if you are, I know one of you guys has a little doggy on your lap, like, leverage the crap out of your pets or your kids or your job. If it's a specific job that's really niche, I have a lot of social workers, a lot of school counselors on my team, and they can't talk about what they do every day. So I'm like, don't talk about that. Talk about that you work full time and that you work crazy hours, that you work a very emotionally draining job, that you love it, but here's how you get through it. And here's how the tips that can help you move forward. So it really is just owning where you're at in life and own the crap out of it. Every little thing. Maybe you're struggling. For me, I talked about struggling with sleep. I struggle with sleep because my mind races, and my personality type, I'm an ENFP, and I overthink things, and I just go down this tunnel of, oh my gosh, like want to do a million things. So I started talking about it, and there's so many other ENFPs that started reaching out to me, and they're like, this is what worked for me. And I started meditating, and I talk about meditation. So get really clear on, and it was something that I struggled with. So if you're like, I just have to talk about what I'm rocking, no, you talk about what you're struggling with, and it doesn't have to be coaching related. And that's like some of my biggest conversations have been from meditation, or from, I started my personal training certificate, and so I was just talking about study techniques, and that's some of my conversations. Or what are you doing for your centerpieces at your wedding? Like, these are the things that got me to some of my like top coaches on my team, which has been incredible. How early do you start promoting your next boot camp? Erin, great question. I don't really have a set schedule. For me, I use the Win the Week tracker, and it talks about like coaching breadcrumbs, challenge group breadcrumbs. And if I haven't done it, then I make sure I post about it that week. And so it really is just always, I'm always inviting to it. I'm not doing like these huge, massive call to action. Sometimes I do, but I used to do them all the time, like one call to action on Sunday night. But then I started doing like videos, and at the bottom it's like, click the link in my bio if you want access into my next boot camp. So a very subtle call to action. Or I'll do a workout video on my Insta story, and I'll do the same thing, like, swipe up and get access into it. Or I do it a lot, so it isn't like every day, but I make sure that I'm trickling in different ways. So, a small call to action, or a poll in my Insta story. So I change it up. I will do it leading into, so my next one starts April 9th, I believe. Yeah, April 9th. So I will talk about it like crazy this week after my coaching preview, and then hopefully get everyone, ready, signed up for April 1st to order, get ready for the 9th. And then I'll talk more, because my mindset has shifted more into coaching, that a lot of people I talk to about coaching, they're like, should I wait and do a challenge group first and then, become a coach? And so we have that conversation too. So it really is just you talking about it all the time, because it doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, I have people come into my boot camps that like they're way out, it's like day 11 and they're like, I just want to be in it. And so they sign up. I'm not going to say no, you have to wait to the next one. So I don't have a set structure. I know some of you guys do, but I don't really.
So amazing. You're incredible. I feel like we could pick your brain forever. You guys Sam on our team page, so if there's any like follow-up questions you have, or you're watching the recording and there's like something you really wanted to ask her about, I know she's like the most giving human, and so just tag her in our group. But make sure you guys post your takeaways. I know this was a lot to digest, so like go through your notes. Find the snippets that are things that you want to touch on, right? You can't do everything at once. If there was one thing that you really talked about that you're like, oh, I really want to rock my calendar, I really want to get organized, or I really need to start like figuring out my challenge groups and like making that a part of my thing. Or, hey, you know what? I need to do a free group. And when can I post that? And when can I figure that out? And you're going to box for me those dates, because you guys know I'm about to hold you accountable in those things, right? But find one thing that you can really take away and put into action right now, and share that takeaway in our page. And yeah, kick ass, you guys. Thank you so much, Sam. You are like seriously amazing. I'm so proud of you for like making all the shifts you have in your business and like constantly showing up every single day. You guys, this is what it means to be determined. This is what it means to say hashtag no excuses and no plan B. Like Sam and I are really similar in that sense. And like we're both successful in our businesses in different ways, but we are both there. And like, if you show up every single day, no matter what your life looks like, and you commit to putting that time into you and into your business, like you are going to succeed. Like we are living, breathing proof. So just know that, like find comfort in that and figure out how you can take action on the things we talked about today. So go kick ass, go have an amazing Sunday night. And thank you so, so, so much, Sam.